Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Kneon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And we're going to talk about Sesame Street going to YouTube. They're going to slum it on YouTube. Now, they've been on YouTube for a while, but they're going to go all in on YouTube after PBS got its funding cut by the Trump administration. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about PBS slashing 15% of its workforce. And, you know, here's the thing, like for all the people being like, oh my God, Sesame Street's going to YouTube. I'm like, they probably should have pushed it harder on YouTube to begin with, because that's where the kids actually are now.
Yeah, I agree. A lot of places, you know, they're going to have, if kids are going to watch TV, it's almost always YouTube or TikTok or something like that. So putting it on YouTube makes the most sense.
Yeah, so let's talk about this before we get into it any further. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. You'll get a woohoo if you do.
Woohoo!
Go out to Kickstarter. Man, it just keeps going up. Go out to Kickstarter and back Geeky Sparkles Glow and Ghouls Retro Halloween Glow in the Dark Enamel Pins, which is going up again. Wow, this is crazy. So
woohoo
yeah,
to you.
There you go. What'd you say?
Woohoo to you.
Oh, I thought you said screw to you, and I'm like,
no, I said woohoo to you.
They're giving you money. You don't say that. But we have unlocked the Geeky Pin by request. People wanted a Geeky Sparkles pin.
Again, you can buy any of these pins individually if you don't want all of them, including the Geeky Sparkles pin.
Yeah, there you go. You can buy those individually. A lot of people buying the sets, though. We're going to try to flip these as quick as we can to hopefully get them to you in time for Halloween, provided there aren't any, who knows with the way the world's going now, but we are going to try to get those out to you as fast as we can. So thank you very much for that. Let's talk about Sesame Street. So we got to give a little context here. We know that Corporation for Public Broadcasting, I guess, is shutting down. PBS is slashing 15% of their workforce because of the funding cuts, and everybody's like, what's going to happen to Sesame Street? Poor Sesame Street. And actually, one of the biggest funding cuts was from the USAID. They were spending like $20 million on overseas Sesame Street.
Yeah, that's what I don't understand. It's like, why are we paying for Sesame Street for overseas
like
market?
Iraq or something?
If those countries want Sesame Street, they can pay PBS, or not PBS, in this case it'd be Sesame Workshop, whatever it is, to make the shows for their audience.
It's like, you got oil money. You
why are we paying for other countries to have access to Sesame Street? I mean, that doesn't make any sense. It's like, why would our country pay for, other countries to have access to like McDonald's or something? It'll be up to McDonald's to pay for their expansion into those countries. That's bullshit.
So they're bringing pretty much the archive, I guess, of Sesame Street, which is good because only the old Sesame Street is worth watching. And this is after they got kicked off of HBO Max.
Yeah, remember when they went there to begin with? Everybody was mad because they were paywalling it.
Everybody's so mad, yeah.
And then they're like, "Oh, well, they'll still get it on PBS, but it'll be after it's on HBO Max for a while." So
they paywalled it.
Yes, but now it's a problem. When they paywalled it, it's fine.
Yeah. So let's see. Everybody's talking about this. We'll go out to their Twitter and see what's going on. Hundreds of classic Sesame Street episodes to hit YouTube with Sesame Workshop deal. Sesame Workshop will also continue to produce some original content for YouTube and host workshops with creators to help them create entertaining and educational content. Oh my God, they're going to team up with Mr. Beast too, aren't they?
No, I doubt that highly.
Mr. Beast and Telly are going to have, they said, YouTube's picking up some prime new real estate, Sesame Street. They're also going to, I think, Netflix too. Like, I think the new shows are going to Netflix, and they're dumping the archive on YouTube. Actually, a lot of the old stuff you can find it on YouTube. I just don't think it's official. I think
that's true. You can find a lot of things on there, but it wasn't. So those will probably get taken down as soon as the official ones get put up. But yeah, so Netflix makes more sense because most people have Netflix. If you have one subscription service, not everyone, but the majority are going to have Netflix. So that makes sense. And Sesame Street going on YouTube gives access because it's basically free with ads, which, it gives more access to kids.
Well, here's the thing. Like, for all talk of PBS, and the funding cuts, and we'll talk a little bit more about it here after this. But, like, YouTube basically is PBS for kids now, right? Because it's it's ad supported, but part of the reason YouTube is so big now with kids programming and stuff like Cocomel and all that is, kids, they can watch like YouTube anywhere, right?
I would add that, when it comes to that, the support from viewers like you really did apply to YouTube because the ad revenue goes right to the creators.
Yeah.
So when you hear your support from watching the show, the creators get paid. When they always say, we're here because support from viewers like you. In the case of YouTube, that's legitimately true.
So they're going to debut new episodes. Yeah, the new episodes are going to be on Netflix and PBS in November. And Warner Brothers still has some available. I know that they were kind of thinning out the library.
So PBS is still getting the episodes.
Yeah, they're still getting the episodes. YouTube
nothing of value is lost, and there's no reason to be whining.
Well, there is if you get laid off at PBS, I guess.
I'm just saying, like, when it comes to Sesame Street, like, that's people's biggest concern, let's be honest, with Sesame Street.
Yeah.
That sounds like it's business as usual. It's just that we're not funding other countries to have Sesame Street programming.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean,
so why are they making such a big fuss about it?
Because they want, like, look, this is the same. We talked about this. Okay, we'll jump over to PBS here real quick. We talked about this.
Of course, PBS is making a big fuss about it.
Yes,
but
PBS, NPR.
Because let's be honest, when it came to the cuts, the biggest concern people had was Sesame Street. That was going to be the biggest concern. And Sesame Street's fine. They're going to still have episodes on PBS. So why the flip are they screaming their heads off at these news outlets? Because PBS is still getting Sesame Street. Netflix is getting Sesame Street, which actually probably gives a lot bigger audience. And then YouTube has the biggest audience of them all, and kids can watch for free on YouTube. So why are they screaming again about Sesame Street?
Because people are losing their cushy six-figure jobs, and poor rural folks are going to be the most affected by the PBS cuts. And we were talking about that before we recorded, that they were trying to spin it because they knew they weren't going to get any sympathy for urban areas, because the way it is, at least here in Pennsylvania, I don't know how it is in other states, but Pennsylvania, basically rural Pennsylvania bankrolls Philadelphia. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I know that there's a lot of cuts coming to like early programs like Head Start and things like that here, because there are certain groups holding out for better like things for the cities, and it's causing a lot of problems for kids that are literally being affected in rural areas because they're not city kids, and it's absolutely ridiculous. It's just I'm not even going to rant about it, but I could. But this episode is brought to you by the middle finger and the letters FU. Which I've said before, and I'm saying it again now.
So yeah, we'll just dip into this real quick and we'll go back to Sesame Street. But they said, they're laying off 15% of their staff. They said the cuts came on Thursday, citing the loss of $500 million in annual federal funding that vanished in July under a
That's not that much. I mean, relatively speaking. So wait, all this screeching, and they're literally only laying off 15% of their workforce, and that's $500 million.
How much are these people getting paid?
Well, no, but beyond that, no, but I mean, relatively speaking, it's a lot of money. But in the overall scheme of things, the entertainment industry, $500 million, somebody could write a check for that from one of these studios or something. That would easily, with pledge drives and stuff like that, they'd be able to recoup that.
That's 2 Marvel movies.
Right, but I'm like 15% of your workforce, you're screaming and you're having a hissy and you're like wringing your hands and clutching your pearls and freaking out. And the way they acted, I thought like 75%, 80% were going to get laid off. It's 15%.
Yeah, and here's the thing that confuses me about PBS and NPR is I was always under the assumption that the bulk of the money came from viewers. It was viewer supported.
That's what they told everybody to get more money.
What they told everybody, like, oh, we need, you guys are keeping us on the air. So I'm like, well, then the government pulling its funding should barely be an inconvenience to them, because it should be like, we got all this money from subscriptions and the telethons and all that.
Well, I think your idea you mentioned before would have been a good way to go, where people that were upset about the funding not going to NPR and Sesame Street, PBS and all that, why can't, if you're getting a tax refund, you have the option that you can send all or part of your refund or whatever percentage you want to that for that specific purpose? Like,
yeah, they give you
then
option.
it's funded from viewers like you.
Well, they give you the option for, veterans and for,
Right.
you know,
So
election
say, do you
stuff,
want your money
yeah.
to go to, PBS and, the public broadcasting and all that stuff to go to like NPR and that? If so, you may write on here, like, you want this much deducted, and then we'll send you the refund minus that money that we're going to send directly to them. That would easily offset the 500 million, according to all these, proponents for it.
Do you want Elmo to get your liver when you die? Check this box.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? I mean, there's a problem solved. If that people that want the money going there, they could choose to take money out of their refund and direct it to PBS and or NPR or whatever. They could direct it there. But they're not they're going to scream because they don't pay in, so their money was never paying for it. But everybody else's money needs to pay for it because they're mad about it.
Yeah. Now I do know that and this whole thing it's all interconnected because I talked the other day about Nelvana. They're saying, oh, we're not actually going out of business. We're just not going to make anything new. I'm like, well, that sounds to me like you're basically going out of business and you're just licensing.
What are you doing?
Yeah, you're just licensing out your content.
We're just taking money on licensing deals, but we're still in business.
Yeah, we're still in business, guys. Honest. Yeah, so Nelvana actually produced a lot of the PBS shows, so that
yes.
And a lot of that animation has dried up, but Sesame Street will be fine. I mean, honestly, if there's one show that's gonna survive, it's gonna probably be Sesame Street. And just on YouTube, like I was going out and just checking to see what kind of numbers. I mean, it's an insane amount of views. They're getting they said that they've actually picked up a lot more in the last month or two because of the PBS cuts, but they're getting 9, 10, 12 million views per day. Yes,
and they're getting paid for that, I'm sure.
They're getting
or they have some deal with YouTube that they put the stuff on there and they get some lump sum.
That could be too. So yeah, this is because it's actually a deal with YouTube. They said over the past year, Sesame Street content viewership was up by more than 130%, topping 5 billion views on the platform. Kids stuff is big on YouTube. They have YouTube Kids.
Kids will watch YouTube before they watch our kids. Oh my gosh, this is years ago. But our kids weren't watching TV. They were watching YouTube. So we just kind of turned the TV off, except for some things, because there's no point keeping it. We were paying $100 a month for Dish or whatever. We're like, screw that. Our kids don't watch it anyway.
No, they weren't watching like real TV. They weren't watching it because I remember back in, God, it was probably 2008, 2009, we bought one of the first smart TVs and they just started watching YouTube every morning before they went to school. It was Annoying Orange. And then you get stuff on the internet, put it on the thumb drive and nothing else, pop in the TV, and they would just watch what they'd select what they wanted to watch. They'd watch it because that's what they watched anyway. YouTube, yes, they watch YouTube all the time. They didn't watch TV otherwise. And the only thing that they were missing was the Macy's parade, and we had an antenna, so we just watched it on TV until they started streaming it online. So you didn't need it because our kids weren't watching it anyway. So yeah, they said YouTube is going to be doing seminars for YouTube creators to share best practices and how to create content that's entertaining while also promoting learning. So no skibbity toilets.
But then you're not going to be able to monetize it or have comments.
Yeah. You're
going to make content for children that you cannot comment on or monetize and effectively, unless you're Sesame Street.
So they're talking Ms. Rachel and Coco Melon doing.
I was
really
thinking
well
of Ms. Rachel, yeah.
Yeah, but that's what kids are watching now. Honestly, regardless of Sesame Street's political bias, and it has gotten more political. I mean, it has over the last couple of years, and then Elmo's annoying as hell, but whatever. I think a lot of parents would rather have their kids watch Sesame Street on YouTube than watch more brain rot, because some of the stuff the kids are watching now is just weird. It's just really weird content. Weird.
And it's nice that they're teaching people to do it. I'm sure they're not doing it for free. I'm sure they're getting some kind of, deal with YouTube to, get paid for that.
Yeah. Yep. Hey, this is funny. This is what they posted on X. We're doing better. We made it to September.
Okay. I'll give you that. That was good. Good. That was funny.
So people, the comments on the post, hope you can throw some classic episodes in. I'd be down with that. But I mean, honestly, some of those episodes are probably problematic now because
I'm sure they are. No, our son used to watch the old episodes.
Yeah.
He knew the pinball, the pinball.
Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That was the Pointer Sisters. I didn't even know it was the Pointer Sisters until years later. And, but that was a banger, man. That was great. People are content YouTube kids actually need.
Yes.
So hopefully, I mean, I think what's going to happen is a lot of adults are going to watch the old Sesame Street. I mean, I'd probably dip in on the 70s and 80s stuff because I'd be like, yeah, this is what I remember. I don't know what's going on with that, but there we go.
He's working real hard.
So I think like they'll be fine, but I mean, really, it's just about I think having to pivot your business model and just I just don't understand fully what the purpose of PBS and NPR really is now, because it made a lot of sense pre-internet to have this. It's just everybody's online. Everybody's online now. They're getting.
You know what's funny to me? Mr. Beast still has way more subscribers than Sesame Street.
Yeah,
so many
right?
YouTubers have a lot more subscribers than Sesame Street.
Oh my God, they'll like I said, you think they wouldn't do it? They would totally do a team up because they did
on YouTube. They might.
Yeah, because they did some pretty cringy stuff when HBO was running the show. They had like Game of Thrones and Lord of the Rings and stuff like that, and they were doing these parodies. And it was like, what is this Sesame Street or Saturday Night Live? Like, what are you doing here?
If they're going to bring celebrities on that kids know, or they're going to make a deal to bring Ms. Rachel on, or to bring big YouTubers that these kids are actually watching onto the show. You
bring real Blippi onto Sesame Street and let him take a shit in Elmo's mouth.
Not everybody's going to get that joke, but okay.
There are multiple Blippies. The original Blippi took a shit in his friend. Google it. He took a shit in his friend's mouth, and then he went. Okay. Then he went on to make a kids show, made like a bajillion dollars. Anybody can be a kids TV star. I could be a kids TV star.
I think you'd scare children.
Mr. Fishy.
Mr. Fishy. I think you'd scare children.
I probably
You're not Mr. Noodle, let's put it that way. So
not Mr. Yeah, there were multiple Mr. Noodles too.
There were.
And they were both pretty awesome. But yeah. Anyway, we're gonna wrap this up.
Yes.
There we go, guys. Sesame Street not dead. Sorry if you were hoping for it. It's not happening. Just don't watch it. It's not for you. It's for preschoolers. So whatever. Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants. We'll talk later.
Bye.
For more pop culture news, views, and rants, go to news.clownfishtv.com. That's news.clownfishtv.com.